Thokozani gogo nabumkhulu. It's Wednesday. Gogo Lerato. I'm Gogo Kandalembu Eriki Bankang. You guys will notice I very like a cloth here. It's going to be important in our class today, but I've also put it there because well, so yeah, I don't want Mkhulu's shit down showing. Without wasting time, let's read the Bible. Bitulan tatele morale ya moyo halang amen. Ya tshepa maruo a hae o tla timela. Ya lokileng o tla tleha. Ya lokileng o tleha jwalo ka hlaku le letalana. Ho hlolwa ha ba kgopo ke ho fela ha bone. Athe lapa la ya lokileng lona le tia ka mehla. Motho o babatswa ka baka la bohlale ba hae, empa ya pelo e kgopo yene wa nyediswa. Ho molemo ho nyatswa ho ena le kgoba le leng, ho ena le ho hlomphuwa o bolawa ke tlala. Amen. All right, very interesting scriptures and relevant for today's class. Okay, let's pray. Ntatarona mahodimong bitso la o le haletswe go tle moswa ha o thatwetse lefatsheng jalo ka etswa le hodimong o re fe ka jeno bo be bo re lekaneng ba tsatsing le leng o re tshwarele melato rona jalo ka re tshola ba re sitelwang se re se moleko mme re lwanne go ye mo beng go bane mosoko ha o le matla la kganya le kgalelo jalo ka o sa feleng. Amen. Thokozani gogo nabomkhulu. Okay, today I'm going to try to get to the chase of today's class. So today's lesson is actually inspired by the readings that I've had this whole week. Literally, dreams, Ndau, and Msamo. They have been so connected, and it's just been, interesting. Let's say that. My favorite patient today, she is officially my favorite patient today. She and I, we had a bit of a, like we were both having like a locked heads type of setup with regards to her dreams. But she's not the only one. I got a dream interpretation early this morning, an exciting one. All right. So what do dreams have to do, Msamo? I may not necessarily have time to go through all the dreams and the types of dreams, but I want to say this, and this is not even a disclaimer. This is something that I want most people going into their spirituality to know, right? The majority of us, when we go into spirituality, we go in with a mindset, with like an anti-witchcraft mindset. So we go into our own spirituality with the idea that we have been bewitched or there is something significantly wrong, which is, which is witchcraft, basically. It doesn't help us that, we go and see some people who will, inyanga or whatever, who will tell us that we've been bewitched. Right? So we already go into our spiritual gifts with such fear. Not realizing that firstly, you've been given the spiritual gift by your elders. This is your mother and your father's people, or your mother and umalume, who's your mother and father. B, these people are not just giving you the gift because they want like a servant out of you. It's not what the gift is about, actually. The gift is meant to edify you so that you, the host, umntwana wabo, get to sort of inherit what they couldn't have for themselves, right? So our spiritual gifts are mainly these are like reflections of our elders once they've died. So these people have died. They go to, let's call it Dloziville. They are at Dloziville and they have reflections on what they could have done differently in their lives. And then when they turn around, now looking at a possible candidate, right? They look for somebody who's susceptible. They look for somebody who's got inner drive that may not have necessarily been out there, but they look for that, right? And then they say, we have found our steering, right? So you being the steering, firstly, and I want to kill this for us healers. We easily develop a special mindset, which is actually an ego on its own. But I think I've talked about that previously, where now, because now you have defined to yourself in your mind as one thing, let's call it a special person, a gifted person in this case, because you have identified yourself this from being told by other people, healers, whoever, and maybe, seeing some dreams, then you start to have this sense of there's an ego that goes with it. It's not kikabum, and it's not even a bad thing, right? Anything that is defined in the universe would have some type of ego associated with it. What does that mean? It means that ego is seeing like a mental picture, a mental projection, a mental construct of what that thing really is, right? So it's so easy for us to develop ego from what we see with our eyes. The five senses, actually, they help us, right? Because in the systematic world, we identify things and separate and differentiate things by calling them by name and having an identification of what they look like. So ego actually is what helps us to be able to differentiate the different things in the universe, okay? A good example would be children playing, right? Girls would maybe be susceptible towards dolls, boys would be susceptible to cars, right? Is it an ego? Technically it is. Technically it is, because those girls have defined themselves as one thing and not the other. And it is also one of the reasons that as society we struggle with transgender. Even, some people, they would struggle with that, because it's actually, again, looking at the ego of what a woman or what a man should be, right? So we develop ego in the weirdest ways. We develop ego easily. And you having like a few steps towards knowing something now closes your mind to what you do not know. And then you feel like what you've grasped in front of you is the aha, right? Your aha moment is the awakening. I will tell you guys how many times, like, my awakening grows every day, right? And I learn through my own patience and that. And sometimes I'm like, sometimes I've got patients that I send voice notes to afterwards and say, hey, I think you were right. If Badimu say that I was right, or they give me a lesson about what the patient was trying to tell me and I didn't quite understand it because my mental construct of how things should be was not fully understanding it, then I would go back and say, you are right. Why? Because A, I want to sort of kill the ego of me thinking that I know it all. B, I want, please don't yawn. Please, Gogo, do not yawn. Please, 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 please. I'm the tight one. And B, I want that person, that individual, that patient to know that they were in, a step in the right direction. All right. So then we've got this ego, right? And we're like, okay, Kingaka now, I'm the gifted one. I'm the chosen one. And for some reason, we become the self-appointed judges in our own families, right? Because now we are getting dreams, right? So these dreams are telling us, we are the channels, and these dreams are telling us what the family should be doing. And that is where Msamo and dreams are very, 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 that is very important. This Bokoko Nabumkulu is the most important lesson you guys will learn on your spiritual journey, right? Okay. So how do dreams, or idlozi and Msamo, now function, and how do dreams work? When you start to open up your spirituality, so your first initial dreams would be like your invitation dreams from Badimbahao, or let's call them awareness dreams, right? Where they, in one way or another, whether it's water or whatever, they make you aware that they're trying to send a message to you from Joseville. So those are normally the dreams that we would take up, and we'd start acting and we'd get all busy and stuff, right? But those dreams are like your first, like I'm saying, it's awareness. You having water dreams does not mean you must go and twasa right now. It doesn't mean that, right? They could be sort of warming you up and getting your conscious mind to understand that there is something subconscious happening with you, and that subconscious thing is something that you would need to pay your attention to, right? Preferably, when we start to get dreams, water, snakes, all of those things, that is where actually our first question when we go enyangeni should be, how do I set up Msamo? It's the most important thing. And it's the one question that we don't ask. That on its own should be the first question, right? These dreams are not only there to entertain you. These dreams are not only there to entertain you or to show you that you're special. These dreams are like prompts to sort of push you in a particular direction. Remember now, with awareness comes now the ability to know intuitively what you should be doing. So, okay, you see water and you know, okay, I got water spirits. I always see myself committing. I see a particular cloth and blah, blah, blah. What should I do? I know some healers will say, no, you can't buy traditional cloths until you are a pehlweni, but actually not, right? The more you respond to these initial dreams, the more the dreams are going to come and the more your Dlozi can converse with you. So the initial dreams are not even about you interpreting the dream correctly. They're not. They're actually not about that. They're about you're developing like a love language with Idlozi Lako. It's actually, this thing of Twasa and connecting with our spirit guides, it's a love story, I can promise you guys. So they're giving you a love language. You can look at the trend of your dreams, maybe 3 or 4. And then, you can sort of conclude if you're a person who dreams metaphorically. Some people dream practically. So you dream of something and it happens, or you dream of a particular person and they rock up. That is almost practical, right? And then you get people like me. I dream metaphorically. Questions in my dreams. I hardly dream. Well, before I went to Twasa, I never dreamt of a snake. Well, I did as a child, but not as an adult. I never dreamt of river, water. I've never dreamt of myself, to this day, probably at the river. I only get visions. That's it. Right? But the initial dreams now are like a love language to sort of say, come here, takwan, right? I spoke about ukupatla and why ukupatla routine is important, but I'll just reiterate it quickly. So when you start to patla and to pray, it is your way of saying, I hear you, right? It is like sending a WhatsApp. It's your way of saying to Idlozi, I hear you, and I'm responding. Patla about what you saw in your dream the night before or the morning before. Patla about it. Ask for understanding, right? The understanding is not going to come that day. It's not going to come maybe the following day. It might come a month later. That's actually how I learned to interpret dreams, my own dreams, because I had no one who could interpret my dreams for me. All right. And then that's the first phase. Second phase of your dreams, right, would be the part where you have a lot of dreams in what feels like one night. Like you'd be dreaming 10,000 things in a night. And you don't remember. And you remember glimpses only. And you remember snapshots of, what you saw in your sleep. Okay. Some could have elements. Some could have elements of, what you recognize. Like is Piga and that. Some don't. Like some of them are just too many. That one night when you feel like you dreamt 10 million dreams in one night and the night was very short. Those dreams, I always say this to my twasas and I actually look forward to those dreams. I call those codifying dreams. Codifying dreams. Now, let me give you an example of what a codifying dream, I call it that, what a codifying dream is. Let's say, I was walking down the street, didn't know that I was a prophet, right? And then my Dlozi just erupted, by the way, on its own in Linyami, in my house. It was unevoked. When I went to Peklen Bayong Shayela, she came out, but I think she held back. Or maybe I held back. I'm not quite sure, right? right? So she didn't quite do what she's supposed to do. Okay, she did make a lot of noise though. She did, you know, she made a lot of noise, and she was crying a lot. However, after that weekend, after they finished Unkache, and I think it's like it's happened to me more than once. So this is how I know these are codified dreams. So I'm Lerato, right? The day before my dlozi formally erupted in my house, and the day that my dlozi erupted within me, what was the difference? What was the difference? I was still the same person. I was doing the same things. You know, I was paddling, praying, hlehling. Actually, my dlozi jumped out after a hlehling session. Type of thing. You know. Then she just jumped out on her own. Like, I didn't even expect it to come out. I didn't know what to expect, you know. So what happened the day before Koko Kandalembube jumped out and the day she did? What was the difference? Because I had been doing this my entire life, you know. I've been praying whenever, my entire life. All right. So here's the difference. Previously, like I said, I never dreamt. I didn't know anything. I did dream, but I just never remembered these dreams, and they were never important to me at the time, right? And then I went Epiphany Nayokacheko. So when she heard the drums, initially, they were sort of moving her vibrationally. She may not have come out fully that day for reasons only known to her, right? However, I started like I'm saying, the vibrational connection between her and I. That's how I started it. Okay. Done, dusted, fine. And then I continued to hlehla. But the night after that weekend at my Gobela's house, that first night at home, I had a series of dreams in one night, and then I didn't remember them. Right. The reason why I call these codifying dreams is that I believe, it is my belief, what they do is they sort of put like a memory chip into your brain, your conscious brain, right? This is stuff that's always been in the subconscious. It's always been there. You know, you don't wake up and become ngaka one day. It's always been there, right? But something sort of moves that energy from your subconscious, or let's call it from the spirit world, right? And then that energy moving into your conscious mind becomes those dreams. So your conscious mind becomes like a computer, right? You are like Neo. You're the one, right? Your conscious mind becomes like a computer. And have you guys noticed that when you download a new program, it'll just show you that bar thing with the program downloading, and it'll show a lot of random moving numbers and words that your physical eye cannot catch. Okay. It's a practice where we move rhythmically, right? Actually, we get the dlozi used to coming up in your body, right? So for most of us that oh gosh, and mkhuba is the dlozi jumping out. Normally, before you can take out the mkhuba, they give you time where you hlehla the dlozi. It's a long story, right? You need to go ready for that. But when you look at a computer program, just on the screen of the computer, your physical eye cannot catch the programs that are being downloaded, because they are being downloaded at such a rapid pace, and it's a multiple amount of programs on programs. So the dreams that you forget, Idlozi Lam said to me, it's just like a download. It's a download, right? It's a download. So that download is like the program from Idlozi Lako coming down, and then the program now slowly opens itself. The program now, the moment someone says play, right, the program starts to function. But even if the program hasn't had someone opening it, it is running in the background, because it's in the memory now. It's in the CPU of the computer. It's there. So, what we actually do, or when you twasa formally, we are triggering. We just come up with triggers, ways to open that program. It was there already. It was not a program that Gwabela has actually introduced to you, right? So that's the second part of the dreams that you will get, like programming dreams. In those dreams, Idlozi Lako will tell you the history of what has happened and how you got to be where you are. They may not tell you who your lead guide is, because at that level, at that stage, there is like a configuration of how you are going to accept and understand this program, right? There is like a configuration. However, with the program, if 80% of the programs are saying, or the modules in the program are saying water, 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 those are already signs alluding to you that now all of this information that's been coming from Idlozi Lako, the download, is more water-based. So that would be the direction that you follow, right, eventually. However, Idlozi Lako will give you historical events, right? And I see these a lot through readings, and I have had these. You might dream of yourself running through a mealie field. Kanti you finding that Ndau wako, who could be, let's say, your mother's great-great-grandfather, like 5-6 generations backwards, was somebody who was running and he needed to hide, and that. Most often, they would show you a scene like that to sort of educate you on their karma. They're trying to show you their karma, their misfortunes, the things that made them to be less than who they should have been in this life. Sometimes they will show you significant events that inhibited them from living the life that they feel they should have lived. Now, what is being done is Idlozi Lako through Ndau as well. Now, is showing you karma of your family background. That is very important, because Msamo wako now first needs to have karma resolved. That's what Ndau is all about, right? And they're showing you reflections of themselves individually as to what they feel they should have done differently, right? The reflection could also be, the importance of them doing that is to show you that there is a trend. Our dlozis actually show us our generational curses in our initial dreams. All right, they will show you generational curses, but I'm going to give you guys a great example of that just now. So that's the second phase of the dreams, right? Now that program is expanding itself. You're getting the background, you're getting where you're going, you're getting your source of energy, or the source of Idlozi Lako. What do they need from you? They need you to go emanzini. There could be various reasons, right? Probably because your father's not there, and now your father's people need you to do something for them, but because they didn't abaklawulanga culturally, they don't really have the access through Idlozi to be your spirit dlozi or your spirit father. Because guess what? Umalume is already doing that, right? So then what do they say? They say, come and meet us emanzini, because guess what? Ndau is for everyone, right? Emanzini, there is Ndau. I gave a teaching on that last week, right? So often than not, when we've got water spirits, we are talking about past spirits that need to be fluid because they need to make some changes in their lives, or looking back. These are reflections. Just like water is a reflective thing. That's why people back home generally would have badimu who are reflecting back on their own lives and what they have done. So if ugogo used to love umalume the most, right? And umalume obviously is spoiled because umamake begamtanda, and he would always get money uphuzu utshwala. Chances are when amshana gamalume, gogo will need you to go kometsing. Why? Because she cannot physically fix what has happened umntanakhe umalume, but she recognizes that you need umalume, because malume now needs to do ancestral things for you. So what she does is she calls you to the water to go and talk to her. Uyothatha umthetho wase Msamo, right? We love you molao wabadimu bakogenu wako Msamo. How mole, she will open now another dream that is going to make you maybe see things in a different way. And then eventually Gogo will say, okay, no, actually I wanted umalume to do your ancestral things. Although ke mosenze ne watagwa, it's okay. Doesn't it? I just want him so I can give you my money. Because that works twofold. If Malume, maybe when Malume has been given the opportunity to do something for someone else, remember this is something that his mother never even taught him. His mother always did stuff for him. So if Malume has the opportunity to do something for Umshana Wake, that's bringing like a sense of thought back to Umalume that, hey, maybe I'm not so useless. Maybe ki inehetse bujwala for no reason. And Umshana Wami still recognizes me. Right? So now you are setting the tone for Malume and probably Malume's children, right, to be at a different place spiritually. Yes, Malume may not necessarily make necessary changes, but Edlozin, he's given you the blessing from Idlozilako. And Umalume Bokoko Nabomkulu, our Malumes are going nowhere. Okay, you cannot eliminate Malume because what our or Malume Washopa. We can't. We wish we could. Right? But back to Umdawe. Umdawe loves to rest with the individuals in our families that are problematic. Right? With the individuals that are problematic. Umdawe gahle gahle. I've said it's his karma or she's karma, but actually not. Umdawe is umtagati. Umtagati inyanga. Why? If you cannot deal nomalume wako who's a drunkard, right? Uzonyanga bani. Who are you going to heal? Who are you going to heal? If you cannot deal with malume wa gago and aphela go kopa di 10 ranta, the day go tlhabela dikoko malume o tlo go kuta. Yes, it's fine. O tla go kuta, is your family member, right? But guess what? Ke neng re kutiwa mo lefatsheng? Ra kutiwa all over the world. Money is meant to be exchanged. So why cheleta e shebana le malume wa hao it's a problem now? O tlo mo rekela di beer that day malume. Di will. Au kuti. Ha fetsa ona di beer tsa ge a le tine mo ntlong. Lutlo ka re le ka mo black sema. But it's fine. He's malume. Right? So Ndau gangata o kry malume o le wanwa wa tagwa, and you see the physical the effect of what he's doing, right? You don't know gore malume probably had a prophetic or a traditional healer's gift asantsana ali munyane, and because mamage na mo tefisa, he felt no responsibility to actually go towards the gift. Because whenever Dlozi would try and intervene, the way Mamake was always there making prayers. And Mamake namofa chelete maintaining him. So Dlozi linkile chelete malume, but Mama's alive mos. Ugogo's alive mos. So Ugogo took on the role of Umdawe to Umalume, right? And Malume could be a drunkard right now because it's that frustrated gift emoyena. And Ndau omoye no, or okay, fine. You don't want to fix the karma, it's fine. No, I guess that's what Ndau does to us as well. So you don't know you don't know what was sitting mumalume moyeni, right? Another key important thing malume is that your mom hakala ajola. Malume o itse king la go ka thwe malume o useless ya. Malume never adumele your dad a kene mo jarteng a tlo nyatsa the family a tlo iketsa ntatenyana. So malume even ka setso, even ancestrally, even ka setso, even spiritually, ke ntatenyana wa mo ntlong. Your mom can go and she can get picked up and date whoever she likes. Malume will never just chill and say, no, it's okay, it's your body. Malume o na le polelo eo, even though dad or ntate mogolo, dad might be in the house still. Malume ke ena o bonang. So Malume has to make a lot of sacrifices watching his sister's growth. I mean, I can tell you guys, my brother had a big problem. When I dated Umkulu, and I was not even going home. My brother, I swear he was going to die in Kezi. I swear. My brother, I think he organized interventions, man. Wait, that's learning about my brother has to have I gave to Sutamo Pilam Kulu. Wait, about Abam Pizza's favorite. Like, I want to maybe if he calls me that, Kitla Swaba, Kitsu Moye. Nasa was a pay. To this day, my brother Haki Akohai, literally, wherever I go with him, but Tata, is this your girlfriend? How about Linux? And I've got my own kids now. So I'm guessing that is Malume's job. And we don't understand what Malume. Okay. So that's the initial dreams now. Where Badimu will show you the karma, right? But Badimu will also, in the karma, they'll show you what has gone wrong. And I want to say this book, cool. If let's say Rakati or Umamngan or Umamkul, Umtagati, I want to ask you guys one question. Lo muntu lo uthagatha kanjani kunedlozi endlini? Okay, but then baba rekang badimu. They are those baba berekang badimu. I mean, we've heard of this. I've heard of this. But baba liba khansam badimu in a particular way. Baba it's a dibari. Let's call it that. But now, if badimu balona have been dibari all along, because barekilwe ke motho oiwan, how did they make contact with you? What about once or you got a spiritual gift? Always go by Dimumba to Andy. There's always a loophole. And there is. Msamo, there's always a loophole. Because you know what? You could literally have Ndau, or you could have Ukoko, who was not part of this entourage, who can just really come and descend from wherever she comes from and be the one who calls you to be her chosen one. So that this in front of you can be undone. So again, let me say it like this. Badimu, this is how they function, right? If you guys are in a family of 5, Badimu, your mother and your father's ancestors, or just your mother's people and your granddad's ancestors, give a holo balona babot. In actual fact, Badimu, if they like, and they're doing that a lot lately, they bring up more than one spiritual person in the family. They bring them 2, 3. Baba ngokraile 5. Baba ngokraile the whole family. Why? Because now let's just say Baba ba ne ba kwetsu. The Ndau coming from back 10 generations back, yena akwala. Because akitse gore go rekiwa badimo ka eng, mara ntwe rekiwang ka e go rekiwa badimo ka yone. Bone well abaikra. Your Ndau spirits, Badimu, again, back to Tabayamu Ndau. If now, let's say, your Badimus, Bakwetsu, I'm sure your late grandmother, Akabita, her first boyfriend, who's not part of your genetic ancestry, because as Mundau, that guy, is not directly related to you. So, Coco's first boyfriend, Akamo a plan from Roseville. Or wait, I khone go tswa mo. Mamogolo wa lawyer mo, so I can't. First boyfriend can come, ibe your Ndau spirit. Right? We so committing. Bule your gift. Then you start undoing things. So that is talking about worst case scenario. But when it comes to Badimu Barona and our blood families, this one I'm warning you, and I know that people if ufiwa chef ke malume wa gago or rakadi wa gago, right? You will not die. So lanka gona le Ndau in the family. So many of us, we see things in our dreams that would really, really need interpretation. Yeah, a wise person, right? And then we start to think, oh no, Rakadi is a witch. Could be true. But if Rakadi ilimuloi, how is she able to do that? Because the Naleba Dimba Tsanamos. What somebody go by Dimon or Toots Shebi? Chance to do what she needs to do. Right? Or it means gore o na le somebody mo sedimong o mo favorang and o understanding their perspective. You might feel gore rakgadi wa lawyer kanti rakgadi now it's because isale a rapiwa within the family and o bitter pelo ya ge e botlhoko, her life is destroyed, you know. So yes, if now even though she had a calling o thulana le gobelo na le mpelo empe o mo ruta boloi, I mean, then what do we expect? So do you see why abomkhulu or abogogo now, in a case of somebody like that, there's chosen one having been raped and not being able to open her gift properly and being frustrated, because rakadi's mom ke ngwana, right? So she's going to look at her and say, but you know, I couldn't protect my child. So Rakadi's mom, even though Aliko Josiville, offer Rakadi the opportunity, the space and time to work through her anger. And it could be in the form of buloi. However, that space and time to work through her anger, right, it's something in probably Rakadi's mom ukupile Mundau Godimo, and Mundau said, okay, let's let her work through her karma, because now we can't do anything right now. So comes you, and then Barat no tanto e Rakadi wow. But Rakadi wa lawyers. You're going to give your Rakadi a gift. You're going to do good kwa Rakadi. We lo khata mabala kwa Rakadi, because what you're doing is now you are acknowledging Rakadi in the perfect state. You are actually saying to Badimu, Oke Rakadi waka, regardless of what has happened in her life. It is incredibly empowering to do that. Because if utaba Rakadi wa gago ka wa lawyer, rona re tlo go shapa ka dimpundula, and we're not going to play with you because I wrote tsibi. Right? But if now ukaya towards that Rakadi go teng wa lawyer, o mo kope a go tlhabele koko, o mo kopa go phatlisa go rapedisa bongaka ba gago bo tlo tsitsa. Why? You are going there to your Rakadi or lawyer to collect the Ndau spirit behind her, not her deeds. Not her deeds. We lolata the Ndau spirit, the person behind Badimu Moyene, who are saying, hey, Muto, let her work through the issues to her. All right, let me tell you guys how I got to this information. I've got a friend of mine, white guy. He's a Wiccan priest, right? So I bumped into him. I didn't know that we're going to be friends for so long. So like I said, I previously prophet, I'm telling you. And then we had an entire discussion about Ndau with this guy. You know, he actually approached me one time and he said to me, I'm actually a Wiccan priest and I would like us to talk. It was a very interesting conversation. We had coffee, you know, rabua. And we had an entire conversation about spirituality and the similarities between Idlozi, the traditional way, and the spirits and spirit guides, the Wiccan way, right? But what I realized is that Ugutwasa, Idlozi, is very much similar to Wiccan, very similar. He even told me Gutibanentwas. I was shocked for days. And they don't palaza the blood, they drink it, right? They drink it hot. So then this guy said to me, this is very interesting. So I asked him, I mean, is it your ancestors that help you guys with your gifts? And he said, no. For him, he was paying a past life debt. Okay. How does that work? Again, back to Ndau, right? Past life debt, Ndau. So explain to me that in his past life, he was a ruthless person and he killed a lot of people, right? So in this life, his spirit guides have actually told him this. In this life, and he does spiritual healing, white magic, on behalf of paying for his past sins. So umlungu has Ndau, except Ndau is not coming through idlozi. Okay, so Ndau doesn't have to be idlozi. It can just be a random spirit. True. So there, my first box got ticked. Check. Okay. And then I said to him, I mean, now do you stay with the same type of spirit or what? And he said, no, actually we don't. They have Ndwaso more than once. I was like, I didn't know that. And he said, there are certain spirits that require you to have Ndwaso, basically, to drink the blood and what. And I said, okay. So he told me a story randomly about his Wiccan guide. So that's Ukobela wake, basically, who gave him an evil spirit. This was very interesting. Okay, so your Ukobela gave you an evil spirit. And he said, yes, but I consented to it. My Wiccan guide told me that I was suffering, with anger and hatred for people. I was always snapping. I was just not kind. I was I was a douchebag, basically. Okay, so you were a douchebag. So how does inheriting an evil spirit help you? And he said to me, my Wiccan guide said to me, he's going to give me an evil spirit to be my guide. That I may truly look in the face of evil and horror and make a choice if that is the type of person I want to be. Okay. So apparently he did this. It was Ndwaso now for the spirit. Okay. So for each spirit, you get Ndwaso depending on the type of spirit it is. And then he said to me, so I said, how was it? And he says, day and night, I would get visions and dreams of me killing people in different ways, killing people, massacres. I would even get like past life events where I'd hurt and killed people. So this evil spirit basically took me back to the karma, my past life, and the things that I used to do. And he said, but I was so angry. I would always be so angry, and I would be getting visions and killing people. And he says, until eventually, I went to my Wiccan guide and said to him, I can't live with the spirit because I'm constantly pessimistic. So he said to me that his lesson from that experience was that he is better as a good person. And I believe that's probably when he was shown his past life of the things that he used to do. Right? I know it's a little bit irrelevant, but there are so many elements of our own spirituality that I learned from that. Sometimes ubuthagat is coming in Msamo. Sometimes one of amadlozi akho was a witch, was a person who did bad things, right? And once they are like that, as part of a reflection, I know people will say, bagezi dlozi. They're probably coming to you because they want you to ubahlambulule or bagezi. You can call it whatever you want to call them. But the story is one, the gist is one. When you've got a dlozi who was a witch in their life, they're coming to you to sort of give you what they have learned out of that and help you to make your life better by also healing them in Msamo, because now they did some things to the other dlozis in the Msamo that has actually eventually put the family where it is today. Right? Idlozi elinjalo, in general, I know isinguni are the only people who can geza idlozi or bahlambulula idlozi. YesiTswana, we don't have that. Sidimo sa gago ke sidimo sa gago ka Setswana, right? And it's probably why ka Setswana we are more prone to spot of it. Because idlozi elinjalo, in my experience, you dress it up and you take idlozi elinjalo to church. That's what you do. Church and prayers are the easiest way to sort of unlock the chains of idlozi lelo. Right? And idlozi elinjalo may not necessarily care for an animal sacrifice, because what they need is a karmic thing that is directed at them, right? So that's how we could also be our profeta, and that's why, certain clothes like that wouldn't want you to have intwaso. They wouldn't. They would never want you to have intwaso immediately without getting them to a place where they are proper, or rather at tunya level at least. They wouldn't, because having intwaso at that level or at that point would be you now consuming the dlozi and marrying into it as it is. But then that's a problem, hey? That's a serious problem. There was a gogo that, not one, I've done a couple of readings with people who've had amadlozi, anjalo. Amadlozi that, babane barweli, and they were pure evil. And they have gone emapehlweni, and things didn't work out, and things got ugly. Really ugly for them. And one thing that I always say to them is that you must remember, if you've got idlozi with a lot of karmic debt, the language with which it can describe things is set so much on the foundation that you lay with that dlozi. Okay, what does that mean? If ugogo wako was umthakathi, right, you need to put a white cloth and iduku elimhlophe. Right? You need that. You need to set up ilati. You need that. So that the language with which she comes, she doesn't know any other language. Remember, in the spirit world, right? This karma of the things that she has done is overwhelming her. So she can't yet talk outside of the karma. So you help her by creating a light worker environment. You do not give idlozi elinjalo igobongo. You don't. Because now, whatever state that it was in is not yet hlambululat. Is not yet gukulat. So you don't want to feed whatever that karma is. You need to have a proper understanding. How are they functioning? Or that dlozi as Ndau spirit, how are they functioning? And after that, after setting up your lights, your white works, your white speakers, your dukes, your white, right? Idlozi lakhona may, particularly when you're epehlweni and, may show you contradictions. May show you contradictions. Okay, what is an example of a contradiction? Idlozi lakho, let's say that was targeting 5 generations back, may have favored your mom or may have favored your grandmother, and maybe just blessed her with whatever, let her continue her life. I don't know why. Or maybe just blessed your mother because your mother gave birth to you, and that dlozi knows that you are going to be the person that sort of brings it into alignment. So when you start your spiritual dreams, your spirituality, you would start to dream of your mom in very weird ways. In ways that you don't want to know. And you would assume that your mom is umthakathi. But no, your mom's dlozi, your mom's Ndau who favored her actually was the witch. So that's Ndau spirit. We say Ndau spirits don't have a face. Right? They are showing you that the karmic debt of the family is coming from way back. But it is idlozi from your mother's side. From your mother's side, the Msamo, there's not proper umthakathi. And your mother has sort of inherited umthakathi without even knowing it. Right? She may not have even been somebody who bewitches people even. She may have just continued to live her life. But she has become like a beneficiary of lela dlozi. And when you see this mom of yours in your dreams, ukaro lawyer, you immediately assume that it is your mom. God, it's not. That dlozi is crying for help and saying, I need you to fix the karma. Right. Another thing that we see is our grandparents, our grandmothers. Ooh, bavaya kamapuna-puna bogogo. Again, it could be a dream where you think it is witchcraft, but it is not, right? Even in the Bible, Noah, after they arrived, onto land, he went about naked. And God did not punish him for going kamapuna-puna. God punished his son for laughing at him. So what does that tell you? That's really what the gist of the story. The son got a punishment for just laughing at his dad. Kamashampuna. So when you see your mom or your grandmother or your dad, kamapuna-puna, it is not an alarm for you. It is you maybe showing you that ubaba, umama had a spiritual prophetic gift. And lo muntu lo agambethanga ini ingubo isiphika. That's what mapuna-puna mean. So, unless if you mapuna-puna where you're seeing like private parts, but it would really depend on the dream. Right? If it would be private parts, maybe our elders with weird things like worms, then that would need like a spiritual person to interpret that. Right? My spirit mother, my prophetic spirit mother, once told me of a dream that she had for 7 days straight, where she would dream of being pregnant and giving birth to a baby girl every day, and it's like the dream was continuing every night. And she says at the end of the week, now she had the end of the dream with all of her 7 babies, but all of her babies had like 3, 4, 5 private parts. And her mother was carrying all these babies for her. So guess what? I mean, if you've got children, body alien with so many private parts, they'd be like, yay. Why is my mother giving me or holding on to babies like that? Maybe there's something wrong. Maybe my mother had an abortion with so many children. No, it's not. That is a dream telling you that she was being given bana with the ability to create or to have abantwana bedlozi. A private part is a thing that you use for procreation. That's the main reason. It is a channel for procreation. It is a channel for bana babangwe. If you do not have a private part, you will not have a baby at all. So it was such an eye-opener to get that dream from my mother in spirit. I don't know what the time is, but finally, I've written in my entries, I used to dream of being on drugs, and I really still don't get why constantly I was being shown that. When I started Utwasa, before I would go into like another realm, I would dream of a woman first, then she would be me being drugs. And I would literally get the high. It's a horrible feeling. Well, in the dream, it's supposed to be a good feeling, but I knew that like it's somebody drugs, so that was scary. Right. But I think now when I look back on the dream, it's telling me that at that time I was not yet psychologically okay. So what Islam did was allow me to work their gift, almost like a person intoxicated on drugs, whereas my life was destroyed, which is true. It's only now, recently, like in the last few months, that my life as Lerato and not Gogo. Gogo has been functioning for 2 years, been a very good prophet, been a good healer. But Lerato had a lot of things that she struggled with all along, and Idlozi allowed me to work my gift regardless of what was wrong with me, the individual. So things like, habitual drinking and that, a lot of things. So in many ways, now I look back on that dream, I was that drug addict because I was high in one or another. I was not taking drugs. I hate drugs. But I was that addict in my dreams because I would go to spiritual realms, and I ascended and at a very at a point in my life when it was really bad, where Lerato the person was just completely misaligned. At some point, Ugogo and Ulirato were 2 separate people. There was just no correlation between the 2. And it's only now that Dlozi is bringing me into alignment with the gift. And Ulirato and Ugogo now are becoming the same person, but previously it was not like that, right? I guess it's because I was working mainly with Mam Chali was my Ndau spirit through and through. Ndau spirit, but maternal. It's a long story. So that's that. In closing, I want to tell you guys a very interesting dream. My sister-in-law had this dream last year. And she basically dreamt of me, black, and then with my son going to see her and saying that. So I get to my sister-in-law's house and I get to my mother-in-law's house and I'm making noise and whatnot. You know, I'm busy profiting people, but now I'm wearing black clothes, which is like so dirty, right? And my child has gone to her to sort of report basically. So she says to me in the dream, she confronts me that, okay, but why are you wearing black clothes? I mean, I hear that, you know, you're talking about other people hurting us, but why are you the one here with the black clothes? And she said to me that I just took a coffin out to sort of throw it at her or to push her in it. But she prayed fire, fire, fire. Then the coffin lit up and I got burnt. Yeah. I was like, whoa. That dream was not me. Somebody had taken my image, clearly. Somebody within the family, clearly. Somebody within my in-laws' family, clearly. But can you imagine what it took my sister-in-law to tell me that dream? Let me give you guys the other side of what I was dreaming around, well, a few months before my sister-in-law had this dream of me. I had a very similar dream of my mother-in-law. Very similar dream. And what I started to see after my sister-in-law's dream was that the karma, because my in-laws and I were not yet fully aligned, I think from a family point of view, right? There was a lot of karma. I don't know why. I think it's things that we all yet are still to find out what they mean, right? And it could be things maybe dating generations back into my father-in-law's family. But I had very similar dreams of my mother-in-law. And after that dream of my sister-in-law, to this day, I dream of them wearing black when they come to see me. And it was when my father-in-law said to me, I want you to look at the fact that you guys, under one Ndau spirit, because my father-in-law is my ancestral Ndau spirit, under one Ndau spirit, there has been so much misalignment that black clothing was the karma, the misalignment, right? And my father-in-law said to me, I will convert this blackness, this misalignment into power for you. On condition that you really change your mind about what you see. Your mother-in-law, your sisters-in-law may not be great people, but as your father-in-law, I'm not asking you for that. I'm not asking you to walk into my family and judge them because they are how they are because of me. You don't know what happened to them to be like this. And because of the experiences in life with their dad, my father-in-law physically told me that. He said, because of the experiences with me, you and them are from a completely different school of thought. So how about I exchange this black ngubo, which is a ngubo of power, by the way, ubufundis, I'll give you a spiritual ascension for this black blanket. And in return, you choose to really, really, really ignore the things that don't serve you. You choose to take my daughters, my mother, with the utmost respect and love. And that's how I got it. So my sister's dream was a projection of how she saw me. Maybe also a bit of a fear because now I've gone into like, you know, you don't know what that means when somebody's standing wearing beads, right? Maybe it was somebody else within the family definitely who would have taken that imagery because they are aware that there is this gap between us. But maybe it was my projection, my understanding, my mental construct of them that actually brought that dream about. the most important thing about it is that do you get, Ndau would always reward you, especially with the people you find difficulty relating to, being your family members. Ndau will always reward you with an element or a layer of complete resilience, strength, and understanding beyond measure. So I always laugh and I say to people, mina ngithwasa abantu abathakathayo only. My father's mother, very similar story, right? She also concurred with Ingubo Emnyama. And she gave it to me, and she's not a nice lady. You know, whenever I go to readings, people just say, no, this lady, this is evil looking lady. I'm like, that's my granny. I love her. I've never had Idlozi besides Umam Chali, who's sort of like a mother figure to me, who's asked me what I want. She never. But I guess it's because at that time they were channeling the gift because my life was just so disorganized. So they didn't have the time to mother me. I was literally, whenever I get dreams, it's things that look like Ubtagat. And that's how I learned to interpret dreams. They only ever showed me the horror because indirectly they were showing me layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of karma that has sort of fallen onto my lap, right? And in essence, I was actually a ball of karma, basically. That is why I am given the name that I was given. I only work mainly with Ndau spirits. That's mainly what I do. I mainly work with Ndau spirits. I understand Idlozi from a Ndau spirit perspective. No other place. Ndau, Mlozi, only. And it is looking at the higher lessons. When you can master these, what you're doing is you're allowing the proper Ndau to come and resolve the karma, which is going to put Msamo in a settled way. And that means you are now using or calling upon a Lozi spirit. Because Umlozi says, ultimately, nobody hurts the next person with full knowledge. That's the knowledge of Umlozi. No one is born to be a murderer. Nobody is born to harm the next person. It is hurt people that take or project their pain onto others. And that is the basis of witchcraft. It is a lack mentality. It is a pain. Witchcraft is a sign of scars. So that is why when it is within the family, it's disregarded. Okay. So yeah. I think I'm done talking. It feels like longer than an hour today. It was just very interesting. Pay attention to your dreams. But let's take it with a pinch of salt. Rather maybe go and consult, get a proper dream interpretation. Or you can just go Instagram, and send and just say your dreams. By the way, Instagram, I'm back on Sundays for now. Until Nago changes on Instagram. So I'll be doing that. Yeah, I'm going to try to answer different questions, but I'm sure you guys have seen from my dream interpretations that it's normally not what you think, right? It's normally not what you think. I'm going to be having the river cleansing on the 9th of October. It's going to be so exciting, right? And I'm going to just put it out there, love me or hate me. But for the people coming for river cleansings, if you've been shown beads, I guess we'll talk about it on the side. Do bring your beads with, and I'm going to just help you balance them out, right? Yeah. So I'm going to help you balance out those beads and sort of tell you why they've got to be in a particular way. And Thokozani Boboko Nabomkulu, have a great evening. Can't wait to see those that are coming on the 9th. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm so excited. A friend of mine, a spirit sister of mine, is going to be doing, I think, an interview tomorrow or Friday on Heritage. So I'm going to be doing like an exclusive thing with her. It's going to be so nice. If you guys want to come, or you might see it. You guys will see me there. I'm going to try to have like a surprise, like for her interview. So you guys go to her page. And then, what else? Admin. And then, I've got something planned for next year, but I think I'm going to tell you after the river cleansing However, I want an opportunity to come to a city. Guys, in Ndau for the year. I am so tired of doing readings. I want to just come out and maybe plan like a group reading type of thing. I'm still thinking about where to go. I think Soweto is going to be nice, but that'll be great. So if you guys have got suggestions on how that can be done, because I'm basically coming out for me, and drive out and but it'll be nice to meet some of you guys as well. Thokozani bogogo nabomkhulu. Have a great Wednesday. Love your families. Baratenhle. La o ka re mbalele kanyana mo ditorong. Just chill. Dingaka tse di le bolela gore no, so and so is bewitching you. You just look and you're like, you go home and you pass with a white candle, one white candle for questions, and you say, is it true? And chances are, well, your clothes is going to show you something different. Have a great evening. Talk soon. Talk next Wednesday.